FamilyAffaires.com contributor Dr.Dan Gottlieb.
Thank you, Roseann. It's nice to be back.
Dr. Gottlieb, last week we had done a part 1 series on death where we were talking about different fears that people have about death. Some people's religions lead them to a different place in life, and we spoke at length about it. And we talked about doing this part 2 series on death. And I thought it would be a good idea to ask you about your experiences about life and death and to share them with our audience, since I think the best way for people to learn is through other people's experiences, and you have been so generous and willing to share many of your life's experience with us.
Yeah, well, I can answer that question in part by explaining my comfort with death. I'm comfortable with dying, A, because I've had so much practice. I mentioned that last week, and I'll go into some details with that. But we know now about the ingredients people need to have a sense of well-being in aging. The ingredients are friends, a network, love in their lives, not necessarily intimate relationship, love in their lives. To live a life that's meaningful to you. To have a sense that you're making a contribution to the world, not moving mountains, planting flowers, or watering them. Faith does help a great deal, but that's not something you can just go decide to get. But to be living a meaningful life where you have love in your life, where you understand for yourself what's important, all these things contribute to well-being in aging. And one other thing, generosity contributes to well-being too. Generosity of spirit, and all kinds of generosity if you can. I like to think that I have most of those things. My life has boiled down to one thing, and all I want to do with my life is teach about kindness. I'm not a big brain scientist. I'm not going to move mountains. I'm not going to change communities. I just want to teach about kindness. So I have love in my life. I have meaning in my life. I feel I'm making a contribution. And I have faith. I have faith that my belief system works for me. True faith in that. So, if we have the elements that help us live comfortably, we're much more likely to die comfortably. We tend to die as we've lived.
Because you will find you have peace within yourself.
Yes.
Because you're living a life that you believe in and that brings you peace.
And I know, as we said last week, I know how precious this life is. Not here. We all know it here.
Yeah.
But I know it here from experience.
Yeah.
So we start with my first encounter 34 years ago. No, it was before that. I was 25 years old, and my wife developed a grade 3 malignant melanoma.
That was before the accident.
Before the accident. We almost lost her, and then there was, surgery and chemotherapy and radiation. And
so you knew before then how precious life was.
yeah, but it didn't quite register with me. When I was a kid, really, I thought I was a grown-up, but I was a kid. I was petrified, and I faced the truth that I could bury my wife and raise my kids by myself. It was terrifying. And then I had my accident, a few years later, and that's when the roadmap was pulled out from under me. You know, we all live our lives with certain assumptions.
Mm-hmm.
That if we do this, we'll get there. If this happens, then that'll happen.
And we plan it and we try to stick to it.
Right, and of course the truth is it's all crap.
Right, we have no control.
Right, right. But I had it ripped from my grasp. And the question is, who am I now? Where do I fit? And I lived in this netherland. Am I living? Am I dying? And I lived there for a while. I lived there for a while. And then, 2 years after that, my wife died. And in fact, I was at her graveside. And I knew at that point, not how fragile it was, I knew that, but how precious it was. Could go in a minute, I developed MRSA a couple of years after that and came very close to death. The infection, he said, was 1 centimeter away from my brain. And this, I've gotten there a few times,
Mm-hmm.
close to death. I'm really okay with it, and I spend time meditating on death, imagining the world without me in it, imagining my children, grandchildren, my loved ones, all these people who say they couldn't live without me. They can. I spend time, even when my family's here, I'll observe as though I am not here anymore. And I watch them joking with each other and having the same arguments they've had. It's a wonderful feeling.
So that brings you a different kind of peace and calmness also.
It really
because you
does.
know that they're going to be okay.
I know everyone's going to be okay. I know there'll be a blip on the radar.
So really, through the tragedy that you experienced, you were given this incredible gift.
Yeah. Sartre said we should live with death on our shoulder, and I do. But what I also do is live with life on the other shoulder. And in between is where every moment happens.
Wow. Powerful. What a wonderful message to leave our audience with.
It's just little Danny from Atlantic City.
Little Danny, who has powerful, wonderful messages to share with the world.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.